We're diving into a new kind of cyber attack, and honestly, it's a bit of a mystery. In some of the biggest, most damaging breaches lately, investigators are finding, well, nothing. No malware, no phishing, no alarms going off. So how in the world are attackers just walking in? Let's investigate. So picture this. A major breach goes down. The forensics team rushes in, and the first thing they look for, of course, is phishing. But they find nothing. Not a single employee was tricked. No one clicked a bad link.
Okay, so what about malware, ransomware, spyware? Nope, not a single line of malicious code on any machine. The usual suspects are completely missing in action.
And this is where it gets really strange. The security systems, totally silent. All those expensive, sophisticated digital watchdogs that are supposed to bark at the slightest hint of trouble, they heard nothing. The only clue they find after all that digging, a legitimate credential, a valid token was used to just unlock the digital front door and walk right in. So the real question is, how did attackers get a perfectly good key without anyone noticing?
Well, the answer has a name, and it's something security teams are just now starting to grapple with. The culprit is what's being called the Secrets Sprawl Crisis. This is the invisible threat that's making these silent breaches possible.
So, what is it exactly? Secrets sprawl is basically the unintentional scattering of digital keys all over the place. We're talking about API keys, access tokens, all those critical credentials. They get left behind in source code, buried in development pipelines, or forgotten in configuration files. Think of it like dropping your house keys somewhere in the city and just walking away.
And believe me, this isn't some theoretical problem. The damage is very, very real. We're seeing SaaS companies lose control of all their customer data from one API key left in a Git repo. Banks are getting hit with massive data exfiltration because of credentials forgotten in a CI/CD pipeline. It's happening in every industry, and the impact is absolutely severe. And this really gets to the heart of it. This quote says it all. Attackers aren't master hackers breaking down complex digital doors anymore. They're just finding the keys that we've carelessly left behind for them. So you have to ask, why is this happening on such a massive scale? Well, it turns out it comes down to a fundamental security control that the entire industry has, for the most part, just ignored. It's not like we weren't warned. Major standards like ISO and NIST have had guidelines for this stuff for years, and they all point to the same simple idea. You have to manage the entire lifecycle of a secret, from the moment it's created to the moment it's properly destroyed. It's the one control we consistently fail to get right. And if you want to know why we fail, just look at how differently we treat passwords for humans versus secrets for our machines. We make our users change their passwords constantly, right? It's a whole routine. But the API keys and tokens that our applications and services depend on, they almost never get rotated. They're often designed to live forever by default. And that's the terrifying truth. A password that a user forgets will eventually expire. But a secret, an API key hard-coded into a script 5 years ago, it can just sit there, quietly, active and dangerous, indefinitely. Okay, so if these secrets are just hiding in plain sight, how do we find them before the attackers do? The solution is that we have to launch our own internal investigation. It's time to go on a secret hunt. And if you need a little motivation to get started, let me tell you about a real case. Years ago, a developer made a simple mistake and committed a test API key to a code repository. It was quickly forgotten, just a blip in a busy project. Years later, attackers found that key, just sitting there in the repository's history. And guess what? It still worked. The result was a jaw-dropping financial loss of over 1,670 crore rupees. That's more than 200 million US dollars. All from one single, forgotten test key. This is the lesson right here. Our digital systems have perfect memory. A secret, once it's exposed, is exposed forever. And for an attacker, there's no guesswork involved. They just need to know where to look. The goal is to move from chaos to control. That before state on the left, that's what's typical. Tons of hard-coded secrets scattered everywhere, and a revocation time for a leaked key that could take days. The after state is where you want to be. Hard-coded secrets are gone, and your ability to revoke a compromised key is measured in minutes. That is a game changer. So how do you get there? It's a systematic hunt. This 8-step process on the screen is your roadmap. You start by scanning everywhere to build a complete inventory. Then you actually test your own defenses.
simulate a leak, and measure how fast you can respond. It's how you methodically find and eliminate this risk for good.
Now, this is not just a technical problem for developers and security teams to solve in the background. This is a fundamental issue of governance and strategy, and it absolutely requires leadership's attention. Here's the crucial point for anyone thinking about modern security. We all talk about zero trust, never trust, always verify. But that entire philosophy completely collapses if we have machine identities and secrets that are trusted implicitly and trusted forever. So if you're in a leadership position, these are the demands you should be making. Ask for a complete secrets inventory. Demand hard evidence that rotation policies are actually working. And require SLAs that measure revocation speed in minutes, not days. This is how you turn an invisible risk into a governed asset.
So ultimately, your organization's secrets are out there, scattered all across your digital estate. And they're telling a story about your security practices and your hidden risks. The only question left is, are you listening to what they have to say?